Majora's Mask is my favourite Zelda game of all time, but it's not the best. There are certainly cleaner ones in terms of design, in terms of questing. Ocarina of Time is the obvious go-to, but since A Link Between Worlds, which basically reinvented the formula and still made it simple. Whereas Majora's Mask is something of a spaghetti junction of gameplay, and it's these functions and mechanisms, they're integral to the entire game, which I actually kind of like because I'm a masochist, which actually turn people away. It disempowers you right from the off, and it's got this weird time system behind it, which people just couldn't get the hang of, and I guess fair play, but you really have to learn to love the mechanisms within it. So I guess if we continue and as I explain, you can suss out whether I got Stockholm Syndrome from playing it. So I feel like I should do a little introduction to the game. You are Link, duh. And you are travelling through the woods after Ocarina of Time once Navi has disappeared for some obnoxious reason. We're still not entirely sure why. When Skull Kid turns up, who is a faceless hermit of a boy, who suddenly comes out of his shell thanks to a demonic mask called Majora's Mask, which can pierce straight through your soul and literally makes me quiver every time I look at it, which doesn't make it handy when you try and develop PowerPoint slides for it, with it in the background. Unfortunately, this makes him an outright fucking jerk. He decides to steal Epona, Link's trusty steed. He sends Link down into Termina, which is a parallel dimension kind of Hyrule, which is incredibly weird, which is very familiar but not essentially right. He turns Link into a Deku Scrub, which I personally think is like the cutest and actually best form of Link in the entire game, but also completely fucking useless. He basically turns a kid into a tiny tree. And most of all, the greatest dilemma he poses for the game, nay, the franchise, is Tingle, who haunts me in my nightmares, and I'm pretty sure was in a public service announcement for Stranger Danger when I was 7. But the biggest issue is the fact that he's knocked the moon out of its traditional orbit, and is now slowly plummeting towards Termina, and within 3 days, the whole town, nay, the world, is going to go very, very flat. And I'm not just plucking 3 days completely out of the air like they do in some Hollywood films where a doctor would look in a Petri dish of bacteria and viruses and go, I think we have approximately 24 hours to destroy this virus, and then gets it done in about 90 minutes of film screen time. No, because Majora's Mask comes with this. There's a little clock that plagues the bottom of the screen throughout the entire game. In the middle, it says what day you're on, first, second, or final. The little sun going around the symbol there is minutes, and the moon itself is the hours that are progressing. And it's actually possible to complete the game in the 3-day cycle it gives you. It's incredibly hard, though, because every in-game hour lasts around about 1 minute. So, again, it's not impossible, but you're not going to do it on your first try at all. But it's the key, it's the integral key to the entire game's plot. Because when you enter Termina, you get this, which is the Bomber's Notebook. And this has slots all the way to the left, basically for you to fill out the people who have been infected by Skull Kid and Majora's Mask in some way. And everyone has a regime and sort of strict thing to follow every 3 days, because you get the Ocarina of Time and you can replay these days as many times as you like, and they'll always follow the same sort of pattern. And all the side quests themselves are linked directly to this time. So you're basically running around, following everyone's routine and noting it down and knowing exactly when they go to the shops and knowing exactly when they meet at this location and knowing exactly where you need to go at certain times. It's like if Bill Murray got a bit stalkerish in Groundhog Day. But, you know, you're trying to help people, so it's not weird, is it? I'm going to focus on possibly the most integral side quest of the entire game, just to give something of an example, because, again, I know a lot of people haven't played it. This is Andrew and Kathy, and they are about to get married in 3 days' time. Woohoo. The problem is Kathy's nowhere to be seen, and Andrew is obviously worried, scared, and trying to look for him. The thing is, he's gone into hiding because Majora's Mask has turned him into a child. And just to rub salt in the wound here, a thief has decided to take advantage of this and steal a ceremonial mask that's integral for the wedding he's meant to be taking part of. It's basically if somebody nicked your wedding ring just before the ceremony. And it just occurred to me while I was in the audience, actually, as a kid, I sort of saw this as oh, they don't want to see each other because, you know, he's a kid and it's going to be all weird and something like that. But I'm actually planning for my wedding myself. And this isn't a story about that. This is a story about pride to me now, because, my God, if I fuck up anything, it's going to show. And this is one of the most tremendous screw-ups you could ever, oh God, it's making me frightened even thinking about it. Like, sorry, Kerry. But yeah, so basically what occurs is you have a 3-day rumble around Clocktown, which is the main hub where it goes around, where Andrew will meet you in secret in certain places, and Kathy will tell you to meet at certain places, and you'll send each other secret notes over the course of several days, all depending on the time of day it is, over the course of the 3 days. And it's, when I describe it like that, it sounds like some sort of love triangle in like a playground scuffle sort of thing. But it's so much more important than that, because the entire time you're roaming around going, okay, how do I revert this black magic so this child can become an adult, so he can finally marry the woman he loves, whilst, oh, hang on, whilst I stop that face slowly looming straight into the earth. It's not a schoolboy thing where you're thinking, oh, I hope Becky goes to third base with me if I take her to TGI Fridays this Saturday. Catch. I'm not going to spoil it again. I'm not going to say 100% exactly how it ends. Needless to say, they do get together, but it's not 100% right. And this is the thing in Majora's Mask. You're not the hero you were in Ocarina of Time in it. You don't get everything necessarily right all the time. There's never really a happy ending. Whereas on Ocarina of Time, it just threw tons of things at you, and you'd conquer them, and you'd earn that title, and you'd earn the Sage's medallions, and everyone would jump in the air and freeze frame. Here, the best you can really hope for, especially in this case, is people holding hands and just going, well, at least we're going to die happy. Because this entire thing takes 3 days to orchestrate, which means by the time it's over, you've only got 2 hours to save the world, which means if you haven't done all the main quests, and my God, there are tragedies in that as well, but we're focusing on this, you've screwed up. But don't worry, you have the Ocarina of Time. You can go back in time, you can revert everything. And you get to keep the mask that you earned from it. You get to keep any heart pieces and any heart containers you gain from it. Awesome. The problem is, because this is how time works, if you go back to the first day, Andrew and Kathy never meet. Everything you just did is just completely undone. It's as if you just went and put a little bow on everything. You took so much time on it, and the game's just come over, grabbed both ends, pulled it away, and just walked off going, yeah, you probably should have fucking prioritized the moon, really, shouldn't you? Because that's a pretty big thing. And this, for 10-year-old me, this is harrowing. Because I want to be able to do everything. I want to be able to sort out everybody's life problems, but I just can't, thanks to the time that's been allotted to me because of this game. And that's what Majora's Mask is about. It's about a countdown. It's about what you do in the final hours of your life before everything comes to a crushing halt. Miyamoto said that Zelda, he created Zelda essentially so that, this is a really bad metaphor, but I'm going to go with it anyway. They created Zelda to replicate those days where he used to roam the forests and used to imagine grand landscapes through magical fantasy settings. And I get that I get that from Ocarina of Time. And I get that even when I play the remake of Ocarina of Time, when I used to roam around as a kid in the woods, pretending all magical stuff. But when you play Majora's Mask, it's like I'm going through those same woods playing, but then I discover a rotting corpse in the center of it. And I'm going to cope, but I don't know how. It's just an incredibly harrowing experience because the entire time is constantly on your back. It's on the backbone of your mind, this ongoing countdown. Every shop you enter pretty much has a clock directly on the walls. If you enter a temple, it's okay. Clocks don't really suit those. But you've got the timer again right at the bottom, and if that runs down to 0 and you have to reset, guess what? All the puzzles within it reset. And yes, there is a water temple. And of course, if you go outside, there's a massive looming reminder directly above your head as to why you should probably hurry up. And it's its focus on time for the end of the world, which really sets this apart from other games, in my opinion. It's just 15 minutes of gushing, isn't it? But let's bring some other games into it. So I bring it back to this to reinforce my point, lasers. This is the one with Notebook again, and all the side quests are related exactly to the time. And again, it comes down to that factor of how are you going to spend the last hours of your life. And I wish More games that have these themes around them, these grand scale epic things, would focus on just one theme of that and stretch it out for ages, not to overkill, but to the point where they really understand it. It's the reason why games like Mass Effect 3 feel ultimately a little bit hollow to me, because the Reapers, a race which we've been preparing for years, in and out of game, a race that is basically knocking on Earth's door and going, excuse me, can we just kill everyone? That'd be great. I am literally galaxies away from the fight I should be having with these bastards. Whereas when you compare it to Mass Effect 2, where they put so much emphasis on a suicide mission so often, the stakes are so much lower, but my God, that final mission is so tense because you know people are going to die and you know people are going to be sacrificed, and sacrifice is so strong in that game. This is Assassin's Creed Unity. This was me when I was about 30% of the way through the game, and I showed this picture to my friend, and he actually thought he developed cataract. Unity is a game about the French Revolution. There's basically nothing revolutionary going on here. An overwhelming factor is chests. There's a lot of chests. So maybe if the writer said, oh, well, the Templars are they're putting arms and legs on, this is improv, arms and legs on chests, and they're trying to make chaos during the revolution, and you have to fight them, and you have to gouge out their innards and keep whatever's inside because it could be of value. Maybe that's a nice link to the revolution in some way, but it's also not. It's not historically accurate. So I'll give them that. And it's just these buzzwords. The end is coming. You only have a set amount of time to do this. God knows what's going to happen if we all die right now, which I just think are really hollow statements in games where time doesn't really matter. Skyrim, in fact, the entire Cyrodiil itself should have been burned to the ground by now, but I've waited 9 game months and nothing's happened. I think we should coexist with those guys, because they don't seem entirely that bad right now, because there's no pressure on anything. So I'm just going to get a bit personal for the last minute, so if you need to go to the toilet. I played Majora's Mask when I was 10, and I felt like I was beginning to lose some control in my life in some ways. Like, I was trying to help out as many people as I possibly could. Which sounds a bit heavy for a 10-year-old. And every form of media was telling me I could do it. They were all saying, you're special, but I didn't know why I was special in any sort of way. And Majora's Mask was the first game that came along and said, no, you're not. It had the balls to say you're just normal, and that's okay. You can't save everyone. And because of that, it forced me to really reconsider the lives of the people rather than the hero themselves when the end of the world is incoming. And it didn't make it a thing which your average Bond baddie would spout out and give Bond any motivation. It became an actual real thing. So, if anyone in the audience is planning on ruling or destroying the world, be it through game design or in real life, just give us a heads up, because I really, really think there are moments that you'll find, it's introduced a bit of drama as well, but there are moments you'll find between there and total annihilation which you'll hold very, very close to your heart, and you'll suddenly see this massive upscaling drama, and it'll really hit home in some way exactly what you're doing, you magnificent bastard. That's me, I'm out. The last time I was here, whenever there was questions weren't asked, but it was people saying, have you played this? And it was a game that was instantly better than, literally anything. I was like, oh, I haven't heard of that, I need to play it. So, yeah, game suggestions, please. And questions. 1, 2? Yeah.
Would you play The Last Express?
There we go, no.
It's a murder mystery on a train, played in real time. It's brilliant. You can spend the entire game in one carriage, sat down, just listening to a violin recital.
That sounds like what I'd actually do. I'd become very easily distracted. It's weird because I was meant to say earlier, but to just make it easier, but I think everyone got it. Like, the Bomber's Notebook and all the side quests feel a lot like Dead Rising in ways, because certain things happen exactly at certain points in the entire narrative. But I always thought, would the Dead Rising sort of formula work well with a murder mystery in some way? because there's clues you could miss if you just go opposite directions. So the Last Express, was it? Oh. Bye.
Yeah. Persona 3, where it's got a continual timeline where you can have limited actions you can do during the day to power you up to fight during the night. It's not real time though, the problem.
Right.
There is a slot, and what you do in the slot, you can still run around for ages and wait.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the downside that you were saying about this. I can run around for ages and not do anything, but when I choose to do something, that's when time progresses.
Yeah.
Which takes away the immediacy of the problem.
There's one more over here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you think that it had the impact today that it had at the time? So I just felt it's interesting, some things you pointed out, I'd love to do social context. So you look at, the game came out in 2000, so it was being made in 1999. So I remember 1999, new millennium, there was a lot of like, millennium bug, Land, all this kind of stuff. It's also a little bit kind of Miyamoto's midlife crisis game. It's really, you got to an age where his kids were growing up, and you start to realise kind of the finite nature of life and death. I'm not sure, even, you say it painted this picture where actually the world special. So, look at 1999, Fighting Look was like the third biggest grossing film of the year, exactly the same message. So a lot of zeitgeisty stuff around that time. Do you think if it came out today, would it get you like it did?
Well, on the 13th of February, it's coming out on 3DS. So everyone will be able to find out. I'm not sure because, well, like I said when I was in the audience, like all this, I think there might be a greater focus on the stories within it that I didn't really go into. Because again, I just had a sudden epiphany about the Andrew Caffey thing only because I'm getting married myself. So I think the older audience with it may experience some different stories and see it from a completely different angle. Hopefully, I can't say it will because then I will sound like a marketing whore. As in terms of the time itself, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to see exactly how it works because I know they are fixing some things to do with they're trying to bring more people in because some of the stuff was designed arse end backwards. The save system is one of them, and they've gone and fixed it. But whether or not it'll have the same impact, I hope it does. I think it's not dark enough. I think the only games I've really released it in terms of are really like 15s and 18s, and I think it's been a 12. So it's not too dark, and it might be my first tragedy game of a new generation. But I honestly can't say. I think I'll have to wait and find out, really, because I've gushed so much about it now. I don't want to do it anymore. I think we're good. Yeah. Thank you.